G'day Bodgies and Widgies and welcome back to the channel. Over the past few months, I've been putting in a fair amount of work to upgrade the fish room technologically with smart plugs, better lighting and filtration. My 6-foot planted paludarium has become quite literally a self-maintaining ecosystem. However, my 5-foot planted community aquarium that you see behind me was a little bit lacking. Right, so the biggest issue that I was facing with this aquarium was the filtration. Although I did have a large canister filter running on this tank, it wasn't really up to mine or the system's requirements. And what I was finding is that there was a fair amount of loose detritus floating around the water column, there wasn't nearly enough flow, and also cleaning the filter was quite an inconvenience because I'd have to bust the entire thing open. There wasn't a direct or easy access to the pre-filter section, which essentially meant that I kept putting it off, and we'd lead to dirtier and dirtier aquarium water. And so in my quest for pretty much the best product there is available on the market, I started doing a little bit of browsing through Christmas, and that's when I found the Aquael HyperMax 4500, which right now might be the best canister filter that is currently available on the aquarium market. And after picking it up as a cheeky Christmas gift, I've had the filter running for 3 months on this aquarium, and today I will take you through everything about my experience using this beautiful bit of kit on my tank. Bringing the Aquael HyperMax 4500 home was a very exciting day for me because one, it was a Christmas gift to myself, but more importantly, after having read everything that this canister filter claimed that it could do, I was really excited to kind of just see it in action on my aquarium. I also really love the packaging that this product has. It's that very simple but modern kind of looking rustic packaging, and I really love just the minimal colors with the blueprint kind of aesthetic that it has. Now, the first box that we're looking at has all of your additional components, like your intakes, your outtakes, your plumbing fittings, your hoses, and your power pack. Then, when it actually comes to pulling out the filter unit itself, which I had to do upside down because I'm filming it really high up, the filter is in this really tight plastic packaging, but when you take the plastic off, it reveals this really cool, glossy, jet black filter body, and then obviously you've got the matte filter head. Everything is color coded for your connections, which we'll see in a moment, but it's also a very hefty unit. It's probably the same size as my torso, and it really does look like a piece of furniture than it does an aquarium filter. So I think it's really will just suit an aesthetic aquarium or a fish room really, really well. There's also obviously your set of instructions, but more importantly, steps on how to get the Aquael app running, because this filter does get paired with an app. Although you can run it perfectly fine without an app, the app opens up a whole range of different new functionalities, which we'll have a look on a little bit later. Inside this box, in terms of just the setup process, obviously again you've got your power pack and all of the additional components. The only caveat that I faced in terms of what's included was the length of the hoses, because I feel like they're only about 4 feet. And for the size of aquarium that this filter is designed to filter for, you would normally need pretty long hoses. Although I do have my tank sitting quite high up, I would have thought maybe a 6-foot or potentially even 8-foot hose would have been great. What we're looking at here though is something that is very exclusive to the Aquael BT series of filters. This is the patented dual ball valve technology that they have, which ensures that you don't have water siphoning into the filter when you're doing maintenance. Now, a couple of other filters do have something similar to this, but something as sturdy and also as flexible but movable as this dual connection that I'm seeing on the Aquael is something that I haven't seen before. But this means when you open up your filter for maintenance, you're not going to get water everywhere. And why would you want to open up your filter? Obviously to clean it, but also to access this really, really cool pre-filter section. You don't actually have to open up the entire unit to maintain your filter. Just by opening up this smaller section, you'll be able to rinse out your pre-filter, and that will significantly prolong the time before you actually need to open up the main filter unit. You'll see how robust the actual inside of the filter looks, and it comes with all of your standard filtration inclusions like your biological media, some additional filter foam, and also in this case some activated carbon. And there's enough media actually included to get the filter running without any further inclusions or any additional supplementation. Thankfully for me, I was just transitioning from one filter to another, so we'll see how that setup is now. Okay, so after unboxing the Aquael HyperMax 4500, it is set up. All I had to do was connect the plumbing supplies together and pretty much turn the filter on, and it was running ready to go. What I did do was take out all of the media from my previous canister filter, and you can see the size difference between this and what I'm running now. So the media got swapped over along with everything that was already included in this, which was perfect to run, and then we turned it on. In terms of localized controls, you can see that you're able to close the valves of the input and output, but also you can increase and decrease flow rates and turn the filter on and off. The pipes run all the way up here, and then we've got two of the intakes sitting in the aquarium, and then the outputs are over there as well. So how versatile the hardware was on the HyperMax 4500 was one of the major things that sold me on this product. However, another equally high portion was the software, and that's something that you normally will never hear on a canister filter review. However, the HyperMax 4500 does have its very own Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connected app. Now, straight out of the box, just the local controls on this canister filter allow you to use this product exactly as intended at full functionality. I mean, you can control the flow rates, you can turn the filter on and off. However, downloading that app gives you a whole world of different possibilities. For me, in real time, it took about 3 minutes to set up the entire app and have it hooked up to the canister filter so everything was running perfectly. And let's actually have a look at that process. So just exploring this app, you'll notice that there's a wide range of different features that are available. I mean, some of the main things would have to be the ability to just see if the filter is working or not. And whilst that might sound simple, if you're someone that's traveling, or even if you're just going away on a holiday, your aquarium is one of the most daunting things that you'll have to leave behind. And just being able to jump onto the app, see that your filter is working, gives you so much peace of mind, because that way if it isn't, you don't have to come back a month later to a dead aquarium. You can make sure that those problems are addressed accordingly. But aside from that, you've also got things like controlling the flow, which again you could do physically, but on the app as well. But more importantly, the flow rates. On the Aquael, you've got 4 different flow patterns, and that allows you to personalize your aquarium to your specific needs. For this system, it's 5 feet long and 2.5 feet tall, so being a deep and also somewhat long tank, I need to make sure water is traveling all the way through the aquarium. The caveat that I have there though is that I can't just churn flow through the tank. I've got to make sure that I'm accounting for some of the more delicate fish in the system, like my tetras, the Corydoras that live down the bottom of the aquarium, and even some of my dwarf cichlids or these angelfish. They don't like having high levels of flow. So I actually have a wave type motion that goes back and forth that ranges between 50 to 100%, and that makes sure that it's actually creating this back and forth movement that's disrupting all of the detritus that can get stuck between the plants, but it's also broken enough that the fish aren't being moved around the system. But another really cool thing about this app is that there is a day and night mode that you can set up on your canister filter, especially if you've got your aquarium in your bedroom and you don't want to deal with the flow sound of the aquarium. You can turn that right down at night, which also gives the fish a period of rest, especially again when you've got delicate fish like tetras that will all sink down to the bottom of the aquarium and just kind of sleep. You don't want them being blown around as well. So again, having that level of personalization offers so much versatility in the way that you run and set up your aquarium. So the way that the canister filter looks, sounds, feels, and even the technological stuff like the app is all great. However, it would kind of be useless if cleaning the physical filter itself was a pain in the neck, because that way you would be demotivated, you'd put the task off further and further, and then you'd lead to your fish being unhealthy, which ultimately is worthless if the filter isn't easy to clean. But the biggest benefit about this is that they've also addressed that aspect of maintaining a canister filter. The pre-filter section where you've got all of your mechanical media, the stuff that actually results in you having crystal clear water, is really easy to remove and clean. You don't actually need to bust open the entire canister filter. But let's actually go through that process and how it works before we have a look at some of the benefits that it has to offer. Okay, so it has been 2 months since I set up the HyperMax 4500 on the 5-foot aquarium. We're going to do the first ever maintenance session on this, and all it really involves is removing the pre-filter, giving it a rinse and throwing it back in, and that way we don't need to touch any of the biological filtration. We're going to start off just by turning off the canister filter, and by doing this in real time, we'll get an idea of how easy or difficult the process is, and the main goal is to not get wet whilst we're maintaining this canister filter as well. So now that the filter has been turned off, we just want to close all of the input and output valves, and they want to be facing away from you. So when you're sitting facing in front of the control panel, they need to be facing away from you, which they have all been closed. And now it's just a matter of opening the canister up. So remove that one, remove this one, last one, and this just pops off. So that's it. Perfect. That's as simple as that. And I think to remove the actual filter cartridges, we should just be able to pull this up. And there we go, that's our pre-filter removed. Let's go rinse this out in the sink and then throw it back in. Oh. Okay, so let's just quickly see the amount of gunk that has actually been captured in here. It's a pretty good amount actually, and this is a coarse filter sponge, so that's really good. Just gonna open this and give it a quick rinse. There we go, nice and clean. So I dump that out, throw this back in, and let's put it back in the filter. Okay, so to get this back up and running, we just dump that in there, close this, and then open up these valves. Mind you, they can be a little bit tight, so just use a bit of force and they should just open up. There we go, so water's flowing. Turn the filter back on. We should start seeing it run. So you'll see it there just purging all the air out of the outflow. But look at how much water is flowing through that now. So when a maintenance session is as simple and as easy as that was, where it's probably 20 minutes, maybe a single wet towel for cleanup, it is so much more motivating to actually crack open the canister filter, partially in this case, and actually give it a clean. That removable pre-filter section was probably the biggest winner for me, because I know the kind of pain and misery that I experienced with my previous canister, and this has just become a world of ease. Although I did put it off for about 2 months, I really just wanted to build that gunk up and see how effective it was in just stripping all of the detritus in the water. And I think it worked a treat. Moving forward, I'll probably do it bi-weekly, maybe once a month, depending on my motivation levels, but just seeing how much water is, flowing through the system without affecting the fish, the aquascape, the plants, it's an absolutely amazing feeling to see all of the equipment working well together. The Aquael HyperMax though is the top of the range. I bought it because it's the largest of the range, and it will suit all of my needs perfectly, and it's also scalable for larger or smaller aquariums. But they also do have other sized canister filters in this range that pretty much offer all of the same benefits. The main caveat though, as I mentioned earlier in the video, is just the length of the hoses. For the price that this product is, and also the kind of aquariums that it's targeting, I don't know whether a 4-foot hose could potentially reach either end of a 4 or 6 foot aquarium. Especially when you've got 2 inputs and 2 outputs, because I think most people would want to run an input and output on either end of the tank, and if you've got the canister filter on one end or the other, you may not have enough hose to reach the other end. So if you do end up getting this filter, maybe a little bit extra hose would be handy. But aside from that, it's really the only downside that I can think about. Having owned this filter for just under 4 months, actually, when at the time that I'm recording this, just under 4 months, it's been amazing. No sound, it's dead silent, it's super handy to move around because it is on wheels, so if you ever need to disconnect the canister filter, take it outside and hose it down. If you need to do like a big deep clean, it's on wheels, so you don't have to carry the entire thing because that can be kind of heavy. There's just lots of little ergonomic wins that went into the design of this product, and to me that justifies the price that it retails for. It definitely isn't cheap. It is a premium product for a premium fish room, premium aquarium, or if you're just after those premium quality of life things. When I purchased this filter, I think it was around 1,000 or potentially just over 1,000 Australian dollars. The cheapest that I could find now was just under 1,000 at around 900 Australian dollars, and that may range depending on where you are in the world. But yeah, if I was to set up another large aquarium that didn't have the provisions for a sump, the HyperMax 4500 is something that I would absolutely consider, because it's the closest thing that I can get to, at least in my opinion, that offers the convenience of a sump without being a sump. So it's an absolute win in my books, and it's something that I would highly recommend. But Bodgies and Widgies, if you enjoyed this review, then feel free to give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel. If there's anything you liked about this video, or if you had any questions about the product, make sure you leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for your time watching this video, and I appreciate all of your support. So as always, stay happy, stay safe, stay Australian. Bodgie out.